Hello and welcome back to my channel Filmy, the one-stop destination for something fun and filmy. Today we have been joined by someone who is not only a movie buff but also a walking, talking encyclopedia. By the end of this video, you will get to know why. So let's welcome Mr. Vishwesh Nilesh. So welcome Mr. Vishwesh. Welcome to our channel Filmy Darshan. So my first question to you is, when did your love for movies begin?
So my love for movies began when I was small, around 3-4 years old. So I started watching movies. My first movie was African Safari, wherein the storyline was it is a jungle area where all the animals are living together, and all of a sudden there's a drought in that area, and later on, as there is no waterfall that year and there is a drought season that time, so all the animals, they suffer a lot, and at the end they die. So it's a kind of it's very emotional for a 3-year or 4-year-old kid. Then later on, as that was a very emotional movie, so my father, he started this Home Alone CD, the first Home Alone, which was around somewhere in the Home Alone movie is somewhere around in the 1998, 96, the 90s. So that movie we saw, and after that we saw Baby's Loud. So with that watching movies since childhood and reading books. So these two are my primary hobbies, and that's how my love for movies started.
So is there a particular actor or director whose work you admire the most and why?
So there are 2-3 actors and directors, mainly directors I admire the most. The first one is Guru Dutt from the Indian cinema. Then we have this Rishikesh Mukherjee, Bimal Roy. And in the Hollywood, I have Steven Spielberg, then Alfred Hitchcock, and currently it's Christopher Nolan, because the way of movie and the way of directing is quite very different from the other people. Have I mentioned Steven Spielberg? Yeah. So Steven Spielberg is also one of the directors who I admire the most, their work.
What was the first movie you watched in theatre?
So roughly in the year 2003-2004, Kalona movie was released, and I was 4-5 years old. I was very small. So my mother, she told that let's go for a movie. And me, my elder sister, my mother, and I think so, one of my auntie, we all 4 of us, I was small, we all 4 of us went for the movie Kalana. And as I was small kid, I slept during the movie. So in the later half, I was not knowing what happened in the second half. After that song, there's this song during that marriage of Preeti Zinta and Saif Ali Khan. I don't remember the song name, but after that song, I was asleep as a small kid. Then later on, we went for other movies also. Mehuna, then Fana in the year somewhere 2006. Then somewhere around good movies were released 2010, 11. In those times, there were a movie which I regret watching it in the theaters was there's a movie known as Faltu 2011, which came in 2011. Faltu. It was a comedy movie, but one time watch, not that much. And there was one more movie, Ravan. It gave me a literally headache movie. So since that time, we are watching movies in the theater.
You are not a SRK fan, I guess. Sorry. You are not a SRK fan, I guess.
I am an SRK fan, but I prefer the old SRK. The old SRK.
You didn't like Kalona, you slept down.
I was small, but later on, when I was roughly around 9-10 years old, it came on TV. So, and yeah, because there were movies like Star Gold and all. So during that time, I was, oh, this happened. So with that movie, I got to know it's very emotional at the end. The first part is very happy, funny, joking, everything is happening. But then later on, in the second half, it's very emotional. You cannot compare any movie with it.
So what do your friends and family say about your obsession of movies?
So they call me a movie enthusiast and movie freak. Even on Instagram, I have made a compilation of all the movies I have seen in the stories in my profile. So by seeing this, they are like, "Iske paas bahut time hai, bahut movies dekhta rehta hai." But that's my hobby, one of my hobby.
So last question: if you could live in the world of any one movie, which would it be?
So there are not one movie. I would say there are multiple movies. Basically, I would be part of the 70s and 80s, mainly 60s and 70s, 80s movies, where you had phenomenal directors as Rishikesh Mukherjee, Bimal Roy, and writers such as Javed Akhtar. So his writing is very phenomenal. And recently, I heard a podcast of his where he is literally giving every detailed analysis of. It was on Prime. Detailed analysis of every movies and every stories what he has written, like Diwar and all. Sholay. These all 2-3 movies which he has written, and it literally broke the box office during that time. But I would love to be part of movies of the 60s and 70s where every movie had a message at the end, and especially artists such as Lata Mangeshkar, Mohammad Rafi, and Kishore Kumar, and Asha Bhosle. All these 4 people I would love to be with and work with. It was my misfortune that I was born in the 19s, because I didn't get a chance to meet any of these 4. And S.D. Burman and R.D. Burman, I'm a big fan of those 2 people. Those 2, like, they are, S.D. Burman is the main person, then R.D. Burman is his son. So I would love to be part of. And also few of these studios, like there is, how do I say this? In Hollywood, there are studios. Like in India, you have production house. In Hollywood, there are studios like WB Studios, Warner Brothers Studios, and you have this Marvel Studios. Marvel Studios is basically more of VFX. Storyline is good, and then you have this director as James Gunn of Hollywood. Then you have this Steven Spielberg, like I said previously. So with these studios, I would love to be part of it.
So you have impressed us with your love for cinema. Now it's time to spice things up a little bit.
Yes.
Ready for a challenge?
Yeah.
So as we all know, you have a very filmy superpower. Can you explain that?
Filmy superpower. It's not a superpower. It's basically what's like the time when I was born. Since that time, I have watched 20 movies, and I correlate the year which they were released and the songs which, like for example, I'll simply say there is a movie known as Kabhi Alvida Na Kehna. That movie's songs are very good. Like still now I listen to them. And that movie was released somewhere around 2006, 2007. Maybe 2007, I guess. 6 and 7. End of 6, start of 7. So with their songs and that movie storyline, that I have correlated, and that's how I remember the year the movies are released.
First movie is Anand.
Anand movie was, I think so, released between 1970 to 1973. Means it's that range I'm talking. Maybe 1970 or 1972. Difference होता है थोड़ा थोड़ा.
Awara.
Which one?
Raj Kapoor.
Raj Kapoor ka Awara. Oh, that was in the 50s and 60s. 1950s or 60s. Not exact proper नहीं मालूम. 51 to 60 के बीच में.
Mughal-e-Azam.
That is a tough one. That was released in the 1968-69. Because I remember because my dad told me, and it's actually a fact, that the producer of Mughal-e-Azam was bankrupt after the making of Mughal-e-Azam, because there is a song in Pyar Kiya To Darna Kya. In that movie, the Sheesh Mahal was made. And if you see the direction in that, in any part, you cannot see the camera. If you pause and look carefully, every song, every bit of the frame of that song, you cannot see a single camera or single, background person in that. It's so well directed, and during that time when there was no VFX and everything. And during that time, making that film was very costly. Very, very costly. So he was bankrupt, and eventually he didn't live his life. He took his life. So
Aradhana.
The Rajesh Khanna one. 73, 75. 1973 to 75.
Easy one. Sholay.
Sorry?
Sholay.
So Sholay was before Diwar. So that is around 75, 76. 1975.
Diwar.
Somewhere around that time. 78, 79.
Okay. Rang De Basanti.
So quite easy. 2005, 2006.
Kal Ho Na Ho.
2003, 2004.
My Name is Khan.
2010. That's specifically 2010 because that time the change of movies happened. Like Karan Johar was I was shocked that Karan Johar made a movie like that. because he was making movies with starting with K. And then suddenly My Name is Khan was released, and that movie is quite different for everyone. It was challenging for Shah Rukh Khan, Kajol, and Karan Johar. All three of them. And that movie is one of the nostalgic movies which I admire. One of the admire movie recent times.
Border?
Order as in the Sunny Deol one. That came in 2001, 2002.
Tiger Zinda Hai.
Tiger Zinda Hai. 2013 to 2015. Means during that time. It may be after 2000, like during that time it's.
Dilwale Dulhaniya Le Jayenge.
DDLJ, quite easy. 1995, 1986.
कुछ कुछ होता है?
Same year, 1990. No. That was around 2000 to 2002. In those 2 years.
मोहब्बत है?
That's quite interesting. 1996, 1997.
Titanic?
Titanic. The movie or the documentary? Movie is Titanic was released when? 2002, 2004. Between 2002 to 2004.
Baby's Day Out.
Baby's Day Out is a 90s film, so it was 1990 to 1993 movie.
So, mostly you have answered everything right. So, thank you for your time. Thank you to come with our channel. And anything you want to tell the new movie buffs coming up? Movie lovers for anything?
So, like, admire the old directors. If you're into movie and cinematography and like, if you really want to learn how filmmaking is done, admire the new movie makers. Still, one of my teacher used to say, like two of my teachers used to say when I am currently in Amity. So when I had minor track at filmmaking, two of my teachers used to say, Abhishek sir and Omkar sir. They used to say, watch all the movies, watch the best movies, watch the worst movies. So you'll know the type, the mistakes which you have not, which you should not do and which you should do. And from that you should learn. Like learn from all kind of movies. Take for example from Godfather, Gangster Wasipur, everything. Watch all. So you'll get to know the difference between the filmmaking, like Anurag Kashyap's filmmaking, and the filmmaking and screenwriting of Godfather. You have a vast difference between them. And also they told this is all because of them, like both the teachers. And they told with that I used to watch a lot of YouTube filmmaking. So watch new movies, get inspired from them. Don't get too much involved into editing stuff. Give more importance to the storytelling, storyline, how you are able to convince the message to the audience. That's the first. Second thing, also admire the work of old directors. Like I said, Bimal Roy, Rishikesh Mukherjee, Mohammad Kaif, who was the director of Mughal-e-Azam, and Guru Dutt. These directors you should admire a lot. Like during that time when there was no VFX, computers, everything. So they made movies and still they are in like one of the most, how do I say this? Admired movies by our parents and by us, those who are into filmmaking. One of my teacher, Abhishek sir, and even Omkar sir, they still admire those movies like Do Bigha Zameen, Mother India, and Mughal-e-Azam. These movies are still admired. So keep an eye, learn from those movies, learn from new age movies, and don't rely much on editing. That's all.
So one last thing, you mentioned that you have seen movies like Kal Ho Na Ho, means 2000, early 2000 movies, and now you are watching also movies. So what's the difference you see in the content of nowadays movie?
Correct. That's a very good, interesting question. So during that time, the movies there's a shift in the change. Now is that everybody is a movie critic. And that is affecting, this is what I guess, that is affecting the box office collection of the movies. Because if you see on Instagram, there are many movie critics available everywhere. So if a director wants to tell something, he is afraid that his movie will get flopped. Like for example, recently, somewhere around 2023, Rocky Rani Ki Prem Kahaniyan, that movie came. It is a wonderful movie. Like, this is what I love. This is a family movie, which Karan Johar usually makes. In the early 2000s, after the DDLJ, in the DDLJ, he was the assistant director. If you see, there are many shots, he's sitting with Shah Rukh Khan. So, during the early 2000s, he has made lot of good movies with messages and a lot of things, there was different genre in that movie. Like in the first half, it is funny, then heartbreak, then family, that everything is there. It's like a culmination of many genres. Nowadays, it's mainly focused on It's like polarized movies. Like for example, I'll say you, somewhere in 2015 or 16, Bahubali came in the box office. With they collected roughly around 300 to 400 crores in their box office collections. That made other directors to make movies like such, Bahubali. And in that Bahubali, it is more of VFX and less of storytelling, which I read on the internet. I have not seen Bahubali, but which I read on the internet. And also many critics, like old critics, have said, in that movie, there is no storytelling as such. There is no meaning in that. Only something is happening, a lot of VFX is there. So nowadays people are more into VFX rather than this. And I think this is a bit of controversial. But after 2015, there were good movies which came, like Rabta came. It had a storyline. It had a good music also.
But it failed.
It failed because the movies are polarized nowadays. Polarized as in only one track minded show. Only that is affecting the box office collection. If you see now, as the current situation of Bollywood, it is literally suffering. Literally as in literally. Every movie that has been released in the in the theaters, they are not able to make 200-300 crores. It's literally suffering. And movies such as KGF, all those movies which high amount of graphics, high amount of violence, and also Animal, high end of graphics, no storyline, everything is happening like no threads are joined. It's like somewhere haywire. Everything is haywire. So in those movies, people are collecting a lot of revenue. And movies such as Rocky Rani Prem Kahaniyan, Lapata Ladies, all these movies which has women empowerment and proper message, they are suffering. But the good point is, after those movies are released in OTT, they are performing very good. So there is a plus point also that OTT is supporting. But the revenue which they should have collected with release in the theaters, that they are not getting, because when you give the movies to the OTT platforms, they collect the revenue. 50% revenue. So box office is suffering right now.
Okay. Very well explained. Thank you, Mr. Vishwesh, for your time. Thank you for coming to Filmy Darshan. Thank you.